Celtic spirituality talks about thin places. A thin place is somewhere where it might be easier to sense God, sense a spirit, or sense what I sometimes call the greater reality of life. So Jesus takes Peter, James and John to one of his thin places, the top of a very high mountain, just as Moses and Elijah had visited such places in their history. I think we all know the different-ness of being on the top of a mountain. Not only do you see the world differently, actually you can see life differently as well from a different point of view. And it did this for these three disciples. Their heads no longer stacked with the stuff from the bottom down in the valley. They see what they'd never seen before, a shocking glimpse of the divine. Dear old Peter, we're so much like him. He can't live in the moment, and neither can we often. He wants to capture the experience but for posterity. Let's build buildings. Let's keep the experience. Let's bottle the divine. Let's hang on to it. God cannot be kept. God cannot be gathered. God cannot be contained, corralled or saved. Like the manna of the desert, if you try to keep the great love, it somehow goes bad on you. Attempting to possess God is not a good idea. The greatest gift here, of course, is the presence of God, of Jesus, of Moses and Elijah. And then, of course, the voice. Before Jesus faces the worst possible outcome, execution, he is not told to have courage, he's not told to be strong, he's not given advice. He's simply reminded of his place in the great tradition with Moses and Elijah there. Peter's call for building is completely ignored, and the disciples are told, "This is my son, the beloved. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." It is only their attachment to God, the great love, that they needed. And it is only our attachment to God, the great love, that we need. In these COVID days, all the paraphernalia surrounding our churches and their future are the least of our worries, to be honest. We need to be reminded of our part in the great tradition. And we need to be reminded that we too are daughters and sons of God. As I like to call it, chips off the old block, made in the image of God. Maybe we can find some thin places during this horrible pandemic, as the world definitely needs people who can see differently.